Welcome to a new edition of the video podcast developed to educate and inform parents of Latino students to help them support their children in achieving an education. Today with us is Principal Roy Morale. He's the principal of Cypress Elementary School and a well-known advocate of education, and also a person who has worked with Latino and Latina students. Principal Morale, thank you for being here. Do you mind if I call you Roy?
My pleasure. Call me Roy.
Thank you. Roy, many times people believe that Latino students and parents do not care much about education. However, if I understand this correctly, your school has just received an A grade, and you have a large portion of Latino students in your school, isn't it?
Correct.
So what do you think about that statement and how that fits in your experience as a principal?
I find it hard to believe that people would think that Latino students don't care for their education, or parents for that matter. Having come from both Waimama Elementary, 90% Hispanic, and Cypress Creek Elementary, which is 60% Hispanic. Both schools are A-rated schools. And I can tell you from my own experiences as a child, my parents pushed education. They came to this country and they knew that education is the silver bullet. It was the key to doing better in this society and to be successful. And what I find day in and day out from the parents in my school, both Latino students and non-Latinos, is they want their kids to do well, and they know that that means going to school and getting a good education as a foundation for ensuring that they do well in the future.
Now, I'm going to say this, and don't take it personally, but many times when I do this type of presentation, they look at me and they say, well, you're a Latino. Of course you're going to say, yeah, we do well and we like education and all that. In my case, because I'm not a principal, I don't have the data to back up my contentions, but you not only have gotten an A at Cypress, but you also did it at
Waimama.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience. How was the school when you came in, and how did you take it to what they are today?
Right. Waimama Elementary is 90% Latino, mostly Mexican. The parents are mostly farm laborers, migrant farm laborers. 95% free and reduced lunch. That school has been an A now for 4 years in a row. Now, I only had the privilege of working there for 2 years before I was transferred to Cypress Creek. But what I can say is that 85% in general over the last 3 or 4 years, 85% of the students score a level 3 or higher in math, and the reading is a little bit lower, but of course these are second language learners. So it makes sense that the reading would be a little more difficult for the kids. But in an area like mathematics, which is a universal language, with the proper support, there's no reason why a Latino student, maybe whose English is not as strong as somebody who was born here, why they wouldn't do well. Cypress Creek has done well over the years. In recent years, there had been a C, and then a B, and then a C. But this year, once again, with the idea and the mentality that Latino students are not done. They just need the support because they're learning a second language on top of learning the curriculum that every other child learns. So when you have to add those two things together, it's more important for them to receive proper support, a proper culture in the school that says you will do well whether you like it or not. When those things happen, the kids are going to do great. And then once again at Cypress Creek, 75% of the students were succeeding on mathematics and about 68% in reading. So they're doing quite well.
Congratulations, by the way, because that's a great accomplishment. But help us learn how a successful principal, walks into a school who have been fluctuating in grades, and bring it to an A grade. What's the strategy?
Well, the strategy is not me. It's the teachers who do the work and the kids who are putting in the effort. My job from when I walked into Cypress Creek was focus. To focus on what it is that students need. We take the emotion out of everything. It's a business like anything else. We do everything that's in the best interest of the child. Some of the things that we did at Cypress Creek starting in January was to test the kids, small little test, and see where they were. And then once we knew exactly where they were, was to start teaching the things that they were going to need for FCAT. Now, some people call that teaching to the test, but it's not. That's teaching the Florida State standards, which they're being tested on. So it might sound like it is and it isn't, but the kids have to know what they're going to be tested on. And if you don't teach it to them, then they are not going to do well. The second thing we did was I assured teachers that the ESOL population, or the English language learners, is really quite the easiest of all the different disaggregated groups to work with, because once their English is mastered, the rest is already there. So as long as we continue supporting in the mathematics and we teach them how to write, once that English has been, the good foundation in English has been formed, it's like they just hit the magic bullet. It's like from one day to the next, they're now very successful students. Not because they couldn't do it, but because they needed that time to be able to master the language that they are facing that's not their home language.
Wonderful. Now, as a principal also, you probably came to this profession of yours with your own history and baggage.
Mm-hmm.
How was it? Because the way I understand it is that you are from a Cuban descent,
Mm-hmm.
and made it in the not only education system, but made it to become an administrator in
Mm-hmm.
education. Tell us a little bit about your own story.
Well, my father is from Cuba. He came right after Fidel took over. And my mom is from Honduras, and she moved to New York, where my dad was. They met there, and they got married. From the very beginning, my parents were pushing education, very important. But we grew up in some very tough neighborhoods, and you know, there's issues when you're the child of an immigrant and your parents are working many, many hours, and teachers played a very important role in my life. And if it wasn't for very good teachers and good parents, I wouldn't be where I am today. So when I decided to go into education, it was to work in Title I schools, high Hispanic schools, where I could, you know, give the impact, be a role model, and help people, children just like me.
And I have the privilege of attending a ceremony by the Love and Hope Foundation where you were recognized,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for your leadership as a principal and the work you do as a principal in education. Now, in that ceremony, I noticed there were a number of your teachers and
Mm-hmm.
people. So what's your team approach? Because it seemed like they were all very close to you, and they
Mm-hmm.
were very happy to be there and to recognize you. How do you keep that relationship with your own faculty going?
Well, the way I run a school is that we're basically a family. We probably spend more time with each other than we do with our own families, particularly during the week. And when you're working with kids, particularly children in at-risk populations, tough neighborhoods, you are very committed. You come together because you want to better other children. I was very lucky. I've had wonderful teachers, wonderful staff, and I treat them like the professionals they are. You know, I don't believe that I'm any better than they are. I'm just there. I'm the lucky one that went to get my master's and became an administrator, but I'm not any more important than they are. So we work together, we become very friendly, our kids play together. It's the way to take care of each other.
Thank you. Is there anything else that I should have asked you about this topic and I didn't, or anything else that you would like to add?
Well, one of the things I can say is that there are many schools in this district and around the United States that are doing phenomenal things with all sorts of kids, but with Latino kids in particular. But I can say one of the things that I can remark upon my stay in Waimam Elementary is some of those teachers that were there with us at this ceremony were my chess coaches. We took a team of 15 migrant students, mostly migrant, who never knew how to play chess. They started in October when they first came to school. They come in later because they're up north with their parents who are picking crops. In October, we started teaching them chess. Most of them did not know how to play. By April, not only did they go to the state tournament, but they took it. They were the state champions for 2008. What does that tell you? What it tells you is children are ready to learn. As long as we push them, as long as our expectations are extremely high, and we provide them the opportunities and the support, they can and will achieve.
Thank you. Thank you. You heard it here. Not only we can achieve an education, but actually we can exceed and go beyond what the specific testing or standards include, to the point of winning a championship in chess. What a remarkable story. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.